The Zeugles here are putting up a real fight.
That just goes to show how important this place is.
Or perhaps they simply thrived freely here under such harsh conditions.
I don't give a damn why they're here. We'll burn it all to the ground.
The astral energy here is so dense. It's like trying to walk through water.
I know the Great Spirit's will is in the center of Rena, but with the world in this state, the entire planet has become its body, right? So doesn't that mean we're already inside it?
I would say that is horrifyingly correct. After all, the further we climb, the denser the astral energy becomes.
What's the matter, Rinwell? Are you not feeling all right?
No, it's nothing like that. It just feels like the energy here is a little more intense than it was before.
You mean Rena's energy?
Yeah, it's like when I made contact with Dana's will in the wedge. It's almost as though I can understand what Rena's will is thinking.
But Rena's will is supposed to be a lot stronger. Aren't we risking the Great Spirit controlling us if we interact with it directly?
I don't think we have to worry about that. Rena's will is only supposed to control true Renans, like the Helganquil. If we can discern what the Great Spirit is thinking too, we might learn something, a weakness. But just to be safe, let me contact it alone.
Are you insane? Rinwell, you're gonna...
Linwell!
There was only meant to be one world. And your goal is to make them one. Is this fear? What just happened?
Are you all right? Rinwell? Rinwell, are you okay?
No, I'm fine. I think.
What were you thinking? You could have gotten yourself killed!
He's right. You had us all terrified, Rinwell.
I'm sorry. I really am. But I know now. I know how the Great Spirit thinks. I know what it wants, how it feels. Rena's Great Spirit wants to complete the world.
What's that supposed to mean? Are you saying it's trying to make something?
Yes, exactly. Originally, Dana and Rena were meant to be one world. But that never happened. They've stayed separated, and the Great Spirit wants to finish the process.
What do you mean, one world? How is that even possible?
I don't know, but its will is clear. That's what the Great Spirit is trying to accomplish. The only problem is that since Rena's energy isn't evenly spread like Dana's, it seems like it'll vanish before that happens naturally.
So it's trying to absorb Dana while it still can, so that it can force the two planets to unite. Is that what you're saying?
The Great Spirit is scared. But it's not scared the way a rational person would be. It's more raw and undiluted, like just pure fear.
Like an animal, acting out of instinct. Although admittedly, an animal would be easier to communicate with. At the very least, I have my doubts that it recognizes us as sentient beings with a reason for coming here. Earth, water, fire, and wind energy exist in both worlds, but only darkness and light can be found within Rena and Dana, respectively. The Renis Alma, as far as we know, the only host capable of harvesting the astral energy, is composed of all six. Knowing all that, Rinwell's findings do sound plausible.
That sounds a lot like Shion's thorns, doesn't it? The whole reason the Great Spirit is trying to unite Dana and Rena into one world is in order to save itself. And if her thorns are part of the Great Spirit, then they must also be trying to save themselves?
Alphen, what is it?
We thought the only way to free your thorns was for you to die. Yet despite that, they seem to be doing everything in their power to stop that from happening to you. Something wasn't adding up. But then I just realized something. If the Great Spirit doesn't want to die, then neither would your thorns. Those same emotions, that fear, that determination, and its energy must have been the same thing that was keeping you alive. You were its vessel.
In that case, is that why her thorns caused so much pain to anyone who touched her? Because they were trying to protect themselves?
If that's all true, then... well, it's more than a little ironic.
The Great Spirit merely expresses its desires. I imagine it was the Helganquil who were likely tasked with putting together and implementing an actual plan.
Shion.
I'm okay. We need to hurry and clean this mess up before it gets out of hand.
Still, even if the current state of the world is wrong like you said, does that really make everything okay?
If the world had been whole from the start, as it should have been, there'd be no Dana and no Rena, no masters or slaves, no lords, no crown contest, maybe just peace.
To think, all this started because of the Great Spirit's desire to keep living. The only reason it craves energy is because it's dying from starvation. When you think about it like that, maybe the things it's done aren't so strange after all.
If Rena had been more like Dana, things would have worked out a whole lot better.
It's like Hevrecht 35 told us. The Danan and Renan spirits are meant to be completely different beings.
Rena's energy amassing in one place led to its developing a powerful will. But that also made it crave energy, sapping Rena dry until it perished.
Whereas Dana's energy is dispersed, meaning its will never developed to the same extent. And without that hunger, Dana the planet was spared.
As for which is correct, well, I'm not sure it's our place to even say. Still, I can't help but think it reminds me a lot of the dichotomy of the human condition.
Dichotomy? What do you mean?
Those who know not satisfaction are driven to keep devouring without limit. But those who are content with their lot in life rarely fulfill their potential. I imagine it's likely that the larger Rena's Great Spirit grew, the more and more powerful its hunger also became.
Everything in moderation. When all's said and done, maybe that's the hardest thing for people to learn.
This one's tough!
Blood, rending you a bloody holiday!
Reload! I'll shoot them out
In
of
a
the sky!
bind?
You picked the wrong fight!
Grateful.
By the power of flame!
Exploit the enemy's weakness.
Sleep now. This one's mine.
Execution! Blood, rending you a bloody holiday! Shine! Radiant light! Force of regeneration! Regenerate!
Blade!
Don't suffer in silence!
Rising Warrior!
Soaring blast!
Point flash! Tear! Rising Phoenix!
Hear me! Flame of tempest!
Water!
Here's that
See
call!
what I can do!
I'm not done!
Prepare to be seized! Bloody holiday!
Now, while it's reeling!
Take it down!
No further!
Don't mind if I do! Radiant light! Searing flame!
Time to let it rip!
Hear me! Flame of fury! Burning! Leave the enemy's arc to me! Here's a healing arc!
No complaints here!
Here I go!
Lightning condemned!
Let the light finish!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Rising Wyvern!
Water!
Hear my call! Air! Spread! Light astral illuminate the dark!
Soaring blast!
Holy flame! Holy
Demon
light!
Fang!
By the power of
Wall
water!
Blade!
Magna ray!
Scream bathed in blood, rending you a bloody holiday! Reflect take!
Where are you going? Up and at 'em! Let's go! I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to accomplish this. Free flame!
Shine! Radiant light! Force of regeneration! Regenerate! I'm in your deck, Daddy. And tonight's meal is on you. You got soaring blast! Now or never. Can't get out of this!
Not today!
Can you take it?
You're mine! Rising Wyvern!
It looks like you got this one covered.
Well, light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
Trapped in darkness, pierced by light.
I call it the Rindo Special.
Wherever we go on this planet, there are machines littered everywhere.
It's impressive to look at as a bystander, but I sure wouldn't want to live here with all of this around.
I know what you mean. There are no fish here. I couldn't cook any of my delicious dinners for you all if we lived here.
Clearly the worst point against it.
careless.
Don't tell me! My reach is even wider! Can you take it? I'm grateful.
Freeze laser! Lightning orb!
Green veins and blood, rending you a bloody howling!
Glacial spear! Here's the raging storm!
They smite with blackened blade!
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
Execution!
Mirage!
Razor
Dragon Swarm!
Lightning! Downfall!
Hold nothing back!
Soaring blast!
Mana ray! Holy ladder of water!
Burn!
Where are you going? Light axe lightning condemned!
Double demon effect!
Oh, thanks,
Coming
Kisara.
through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Will this help? Here goes! Illuminate the circle! Come forth! I'm healing you all! Holy ladder!
Lost in pain.
Healing circle! Fire complete!
I don't know what I did
Can't
that.
get out of this!
Perhaps now isn't the time?
I really don't.
Veins blood, rending you a bloody howl! Armor won't save you!
Healing circle! What would I do without you? Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Holy glimmer!
Force
Holy
of regeneration!
Lightning!
Regenerate!
Thank you for the
Why'd you
healing,
heal me?
Jolie. To stop you dying?
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! Lunar corruption! Lightning
Green
rage!
veins and blood, rending you a bloody howling! Reflect on thy sins!
This one's mine!
Blackened blade!
It's showtime! Flame with turn! Glacial shield!
Execution!
Here! Freeze! Let the marksman handle this! Thunderblade! Too much to handle? Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Holy
Soaring blast!
I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to accomplish this! Raging cascade! Show what my arts can do! Where are you going?
Now or never!
Here! Raging cascade! Will this help?
Another incantation ruined!
In here!
Instinct sharpened!
Healing circle!
Miss!
Get out
Begin!
of there with the
Take
effort!
it!
Pull myself
Can't
together!
get out of this!
Not on my watch!
Okay, here I go! I'll save you!
Eat dirt!
Does it hurt?
Field!
Begin!
Glacial field! Where's the evil?
Sonic thrust! Pierce through!
Lunar
Soaring
corruption!
blast!
Rising Wyvern!
There you go! Don't let up!
Rising Phoenix!
Magic Kazam! Freeze Lancer!
Glacial
Piercing
shine!
wind!
Radiant
Piercing
light!
wind!
Force of regeneration!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
I'll heal you
Swallow
all!
Blade!
Reflect on thy
Double
sins!
Healing
They
circle!
smite with blackened blade!
Here goes!
You picked the wrong fight!
Execution!
Thunderblade! Illuminate the dark!
Prepare to be sealed!
Holy
Soaring
ladder!
Raining Slash!
Here, let me help!
Can't get out of this!
First aid!
I'm ready!
This one's mine!
Pierce through! Demon Fang!
Lunar
Soaring
Raging
blast!
Cascade!
Infernal
By the
Torrent!
power of steel! Striking lions reload!
Dragon Swarm!
Holy Land! I don't even know the word defeat. Ready!
Everlasting Shock! Rinwell! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! You don't mess around!
Demon Fang!
Certainly not.
Healing water!
Regenerate!
What would I do without you?
Such unadulterated fury.
Sorry, I didn't want to put you out.
What are friends for? We can't depend on one another.
You're right. I'll bear that in mind.
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with resuscitation!
Double Demon Fang! Crush!
Lightning orb!
Eternal
Flame!
damnation!
Light acid energy!
Reflect on thy
Demon
sins!
Fang!
They smite with blackened blade!
Let's get you all tucked
Demon
away!
Dog!
Reload!
Execute! Take this!
Take this!
Lunar
Soaring
corruption!
Can't get out of this!
Not on my watch!
Roll away!
Raging storm!
Soaring blast!
Puddle! Light axe raging cascade!
Several! Lunar Rondo!
I'll heal you all!
Green bathed in blood, rending you a bloody howling!
Explosive Ring!
I owe you, Sion.
Healing is what my arts do best.
Rinwell! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
trapped in darkness, pierced by light.
I call it the Rindo Special.
Bad feeling about this.
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance.
Into the shadows!
Another incantation ruined. Shine! Radiant light! Force of regenerate! Give me your death, Jokerim. Then tonight's meal is on you.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Hold on to your
Dragon
heart.
Swarm!
Feel.
Soaring blast!
Sonic Thrust!
Prepare to be sealed!
Try this!
Not much longer to go.
Come on, one final push. In a bind?
Do this together, Alphen.
Finish it!
Swimmer! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! You don't mess around.
Certainly not. I'll face you!
Eagle
Ray!
Sealed! Let's get you all tucked away. Photon blast!
Soaring blast!
Holy land! Mega ray!
Scream bathed in blood, rending you a bloody howling! Begin!
Thunder field!
Demon
Reload! Arcade
Can you take it?
waterfall! Steering breeze! Do it! Dance in the wind! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
With your flames and... My technique?
We're stronger together than we are apart.
I've got a really bad feeling about this.
Shine! Radiant light! Force of regeneration!
More than enough for now.
Searing flame! Reload!
Soaring blast!
Glacial Spear!
Fierce evil!
Swallow blade!
Try this!
I'll bring you down!
Ignite!
Does it hurt? No further!
Dragon Swarm!
There you go! Don't let up!
Soaring blast!
Shuddering Blast!
Without a trace!
Lightning Thrust!
Explosion! Let go!
A scream
Dance
bathed
in
in
the wind!
blood, rending you a bloody howling!
Up and at 'em! Let's go!
Demon Fang!
Mega
Flesh and
ray!
thy skin, they smite with
Pierce
blackened
evil!
blade!
Holy land! Freeze Lancer!
You! Sword Rain Alpha!
Execution!
Rain Blast!
Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Water!
Scream
Holy land!
bathed in blood, rending you a bloody howling!
Freeze Lancer!
You're mine!
Here, let me help!
Soaring blast!
Raining Blast!
This wall!
Demon Fang!
Take it! If it's in
I
the
have
sky,
no
it's
limits.
mine. One more!
Thrust!
I'm prison! I'm all
Soaring
stuffed
Light
up!
Spear!
Mega ray!
Thrust!
Gemini Aqua!
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Wind!
No further!
Lunar corruption!
Rising Falcon!
Take this!
Tempest swirl!
Scream bathed in blood.
Blood!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Leave the enemy's arcs to me!
No complaints here!
Lunar corruption! By the power of water! Alright,
Double Demon
it's
Fang!
showtime!
Execution! Our art is being interrupted. My reach is even...
Ready to go!
I see you!
Double
In your
Demon
face.
Fang!
Can you take
Demon
it?
Fang! Double Demon
this.
Fang!
Lunar corruption! This isn't ideal.
Rest on thy face. They smite with blackened blade!
Dance in the wind! Air thrust!
Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang!
I don't even know the word defeat.
Soaring blood! Rinwell! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! Hey! Anyone else think this might be a touch too dangerous?
Ridwell's right. We should fall back to regroup and try again later.
So those thorns of Shion's, they're really a part of Rena's great spirit?
Most likely. But only a small fragment of it in the big picture. I don't sense a will of its own emanating from them.
If it's that insignificant, is there that much point getting rid of it?
We've reached our destination.
Thanks for waiting. Eat as much... Hey, Law. Been training?
Yeah, I guess I got a little carried away. You think this is bad, you should see the state of my underwear.
Yeah. A word of advice. You might want to refrain from mentioning that stuff around girls. Ones without a military history especially.
Man, can you imagine Rinwell's face? She'd have a nervous breakdown.
I meant in general, but... You sure mention her a lot, you know.
Huh? Oh, you know, she's always there, even when you least expect it. Springs to mind easily.
Either that, or maybe some part of you is subconsciously always wishing she was there.
May the trials and tribulations of young romance never change.
Romance? Like I'd be interested in that know-it-all tomboy. I'm more about mature women. Someone more like Kisara.
You know, I used to be a tomboy too when I was Rinwell's age.
Look, it's not tomboys I have anything against. But come on, you've got to admit she can be a lot to handle.
Hey, I miss anything? What's all the fuss about?
Rinwell.
Thunderblade!
Ah! What the hell was that for?
A little birdie told me you were speaking about me behind my back. Whew!
From the looks of it, I'd say you've got yourself a rival.
It wouldn't be called the Spring of Youth without a little storm every now and then.
Hey, Shion. How are you and Alphen getting on these days?
That's a little out of the blue. Why do you ask?
Sorry, it's just... I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess. I mean, a lot's changed now he's got his senses back and all.
I suppose you're right. Well, to tell you the truth, if he'd been the way he is now back when I'd first met him, I probably wouldn't have gotten this involved. But then, if we hadn't met like we did, then I never would have experienced these feelings, so... I guess it's complicated.
I can imagine. I know it's not the same thing, but... I know what it feels like to have someone you love who's out of reach.
Because of Miguel.
Alphen's still alive. It's not too late, you know. And after all, who can say what the future holds? I think if I were you, I'd take things as they come for now.
Besides, touch isn't everything. I've never touched you, Xion, but that doesn't stop you from knowing that I care about you, right?
That's true. But I do remember back when we first met, you made it plenty clear you weren't my biggest fan.
But that was a long time ago. There were lots of things I didn't understand back then. Not that that's the point.
Don't worry, I'm only teasing. I know what you mean. Thank you. And you're right. There are ways to convey your feelings besides just touching.
I'll say, cooking immediately springs to mind. And if it's someone's favorite dish, all the better. If there's something on your mind that you want to tell him, why not try appealing directly to his stomach?
You might just have a point. I'll give it a shot.
Uh-oh. If it's Alphen's palate you're appealing to, that doesn't bode well for the rest of us.
Well, friendship is about being supportive. Sometimes we just have to do our best and take one for the team, right?
Even after staying here, we never truly got to the bottom of what makes this realm's citizens tick.
Renan and Danon are meaningless distinctions here. To have one's own mind is strictly forbidden. All that matters is blind obedience.
That might be the case now, but it can't always have been like that. There must have been something more.
Once, maybe. Question is that something still salvageable?
If it's not, we'll just have to make something new. No, not we. They've had enough foisted on them as it is.
You're right. It's time the people here had the chance to forge their own path. That's not to say it'll be easy, but it will be worthwhile.
These things take time to... What the... An ambush?
Sorry. There was a huge flying bug and I sort of shot without thinking.
A bug? You mean like a Zoogle?
Something tells me she would have shot it, whether it was a Zoogle or not.
This realm is teeming with humid forests. It's only natural insects would feel more at home here than Menancia. In fact, I seem to recall reading somewhere that bugs around these parts lay their eggs in human food to ensure healthy incubation.
Sounds like they're tougher than they look.
What about you, Alphen? Bugs don't creep you out?
I wouldn't say I was their #1 fan. Mind you, if times get desperate enough, I've been known to eat them.
Insects as a culinary option, you say? What kind of seasoning are we talking?
Dohalim, I don't think he was talking about cooking them.
Hey, a lizard!
Hmm.